Welcome back to the Quiet On Set podcast. On today's show, we'll discuss the announcements from Netflix Geeked Week, the Summer Game Fest, and we'll take a look at some new trailers for Nope, Bullet Train, Prey, and Black Adam. Then I watched the new Jurassic World film and the first episode of the new MCU show Miss Marvel, and Lachlan and myself did catch up with the latest from Happy Madison Productions and Adam Sandler and watched the Netflix basketball sports drama Hustle. So that's what's coming up in the show. Lachlan, welcome back. How are you doing?
Hello. I'm doing mighty fine, mate. I'm doing mighty fine. How you doing, brother?
I'm glad to hear it. It's been a really busy week. I'm glad we can
Mm-hmm.
do this again on a weekly schedule. You know, it feels good to be back
Squeeze
in
it
that
in.
routine. Squeeze
Man,
it in
yeah.
somewhere. I think I'm also wearing the same hoodie as I was like last week.
You haven't left your room. You've just basically been watching movies.
Yeah,
and
this
shit
thing
and
smells
editing
bad.
and- Yeah.
No, it's not that bad.
I'm glad
but,
I can't smell this.
yeah. Well, I wouldn't go so far. Maybe, those couple thousand kilometers or miles apart. I mean, I wouldn't rule it out. If something stinks, it could be me
I could get a
on the
whiff.
other side of the world.
Yeah.
And considering,
Gotta be careful.
with you being upside down and everything, how that all travels. I think it's complicated. I'm no
Physics.
scientist.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets complicated. Anyways, I think we have another packed show ahead of us. Just on the news side, we got a lot of like new stuff to look at. So let's waste no more time and just jump straight into that. But before we do that, remember to maybe consider leaving us a rating over on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, no matter where you're watching or listening to. But yeah, it's really appreciated and helps us grow the show. And without further ado, Lachlan, let's actually take a look at the news this week. First up, we have news on Scream 6, which sees one cast member not returning for monetary reasons. That being the lead Scream girl, Neve Campbell, is not returning for the sixth installment in that franchise. So what do you think about that? Do you think they'll be able to continue this legacy without her, which, she's been the core part of this, well, I guess not in the fifth one, but at least for the first four, she was the core element of the Scream films. She is Scream. If you
Look,
break it down.
everybody has their time, and hey, if she's not getting enough money, you know,
Mhm.
she might be living paycheck to paycheck. We don't know. So
Well, then I
I'm
would
not
take the
gonna-
paycheck, wouldn't I?
well, maybe it's just not a good enough paycheck at this point. So
Yeah.
look, I'm not gonna say anything too harsh. But look, it's her opinion, it's her choice. She can do whatever she wants. If she doesn't want to come back for a sixth installment, that's perfectly fine. I'm sure that they handed off the baton to the new generation anyway in the fifth one, so there's really no need for her to come back. Maybe, hopefully, they'll just kill her off in the in-between. Like, there's like a scroll at the start of the movie, like in Star Wars, the scroll text, and it's like dead.
It's so
That's-
meta that the producers are so mad at her that they'll just say, like, not even Sidney Prescott, but just Neve Campbell died.
Yeah, they
In the
just,
saga. It's so meta that
Again,
now
funny
they
that
kill
it's
off the
Scream
actors.
because they could make something funny out of it as well. So
they
yeah,
can, yeah.
I don't care.
Mhm.
I don't care.
So this is not like worst case scenario at all. It doesn't degrade the quality of those films, and I think that fifth one has been what was it, a requel, a remake, sequel, right? Has done a good job at doing that. I think it was a solid
Yeah.
film. So
Five was a
yeah.
really fun movie.
Mhm.
She's not necessary for the next film, so who cares?
yeah, exactly.
I'm
So,
sorry you didn't get enough money.
for her to have like a great send off would be great. Doesn't mean that they'll never bring her back. It's just like this next installment won't feature her, I guess. But let's move on to the Summer Game Fest. We're not a game podcast. We are strictly on movie and TV here. But there's quite a big overlap sometimes when it comes to these games. So at the announcements, we got a new Alien game that's coming in 2023. as well as a remake remaster of The Last of Us Part 1. We got Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, also another remake, in theme with, staying on Scream. There was also news about a new Cuphead DLC, a fun-looking, old-school four-player co-op beat-em-up fighting game from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, releasing next Friday. And then we got another look from the already announced game of Gotham Knights, from the team behind the Arkham games, as well as The Quarry, which is the new Until Dawn like game, with the Uncanny Valley type of aesthetic where you just kind of button mashing and your decisions have an impact on the story. That game is actually out already right now. We got a sequel to the Goat Simulator games, the third installment. I didn't even know that there was a
The
second.
third? There's
Yeah,
a
it's the
second?
third. It would be
What?
really funny if like a
What?
movie just like it would be very funny to have like a movie come out that's just like the second movie and there's no original. Or even with this, it would be very funny if there's I never Googled it. I don't know. It would be very funny if there's just like a third one and in
Yeah.
the first one there's no second one. But they're probably milking that goat milk as much as they can, just cause did well on YouTube. So we got free games playing as a goat, I guess. Then we got basically a cinematic for Midnight Suns, which is a new Marvel game. Yeah, it was just a cinematic. Didn't see any gameplay yet. There was a One Piece game, and for Saints Row, they announced basically a character creator type of game. In preparation of, I guess, a remake or the new Saints Row that's coming in August. I don't know why we're still doing Saints Row. There was no announcement for, I guess, the next installment in the GTA franchise, though, just up front. Yeah, there were a few games announced that are not attached to an already pre-existing franchise, but those were like, what felt like 80% of them were set in space for some reason. There's one game that comes from one of the people who worked on Dead Space 2, if I'm correct on that, and they're doing kind of like, it feels like a legacy sequel or like an inspired sequel called the Callisto Protocol, that is also a space horror game. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So it was a lot of games, a lot of things you just saw on your screen flash by as I talked about them. But Lachlan, did anything leave an impression on you? Something that you are looking forward to playing at some point?
Nothing made me excited and want to play it. Like, if that's going to answer your question, nothing got me
Yeah.
super excited. The Callisto Protocol was kind of interesting, and I didn't realize it was made by a Dead Space developer, because the entire time I thought this is just Dead Space, but way gorier and a bit more body horror style. So that was interesting. I'd probably give that, if anything, that kind of caught my interest. But I'm a big fan of The Last of Us, so I'm very excited to replay a higher resolution and better, just overall looking experience of The Last of Us 1.
Yeah.
Modern Warfare 2, I'm a COD player almost every year, except the last two for some reason. I played Warzone the entire time, so if there's nothing interesting in the single player and I'm not really feeling it, probably won't get that. But yeah, and I guess the only comment I want to make is I'm so sick of like 4-player co-op alien games. It's like the 5th one we've had and they all fucking suck. So
Yeah.
I just want another like Alien Isolation style game or something along those lines. I'm just so sick of these 4-player co-op hordes of aliens coming at you. It's they're not interesting. They're not fun. This has been done before. So yeah, oh well.
Yeah. It's just using the IP in a way that is not like super interesting. Which is like, we'd love to see it be used in different ways because it's an interesting world that they have at large. I think that's why there's also so many alien movies that kind of feel different. And I shouldn't talk too much because I haven't seen most of them. I just know by secondhand knowledge through you that they're at least worth seeing, even if they're not like that great.
Here's a better idea than doing an alien game. Do a Predator game. Do like a hunting Predator game that's not Prey, Shadowgrounds, or whatever that other one was that came out recently, because that wasn't enjoyable either. I just want good games set in the world with those characters or those creatures, because they're fun creatures, and there's a trailer that's coming up that we're going to discuss shortly.
Yeah,
that I'm very hyped about. So,
and then instead of getting the Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to shout out, I don't know if you saw that clip. I linked it to you, but it was so funny. In the midst of like this showcase of games, it was like 3.5 minutes of The Rock holding up Zoa in like pretty frequently, like going like this is my protein shake, protein drink, or like energy drink, Zoa. And then he was talking about Black Adam, but he didn't talk about Black Adam until like 3 minutes into his whole spiel. It's very funny to see. And
That's strange.
what we're going at with this, if we get more Predator, less superhero stuff, maybe we just get Arnold to do the same thing to us. I don't know if he has a product. You obviously need a product because, as we all know, entertainment has a cap on how rich you can get, and obviously, being the highest paid actor in the business right now with The Rock is not enough. So you gotta increase it by having a product, yada yada yada. So why not do that? Get someone
Where are
else
you
than The
going with
Rock.
this?
I don't know. I just hated it so much. It was I gotta say, he seems like such a robot, and so out of touch that I was like, what is this? But I guess it was funny to see because it was so obscure. It was so unreal. But yeah.
If you just want money, you can just make a Dwayne the Rock Johnson versus the Predator, and I'm sure that will pop off. Like
Yes.
the Rock versus Predator, Rock versus Predator.
I guess he is the modern day Arnold, just way more successful. And
way more successful.
I don't know how Arnold
and makes worse movies.
Well, I don't know the relationship between Vin Diesel and Arnold. Maybe they can have a feud.
Ooh.
That could potentially be interesting. Terminator versus Triple X. The Triple X Terminator. I think it's been done before, but not usually in movie theaters. Anyways, let's talk about Geeked Week. This was a whole week of Netflix doing the showcase, each day dedicating it to a different aspect of the streaming service. Day 1 was series, day 2 was film, day 3 was animation, day 4 was all dedicated to Stranger Things, and day 5, which is actually later today, is going to be dedicated to Netflix gaming. And I don't know if you've seen it. You can game on Netflix with your remote, and
incredible.
There's like I don't know what they're doing. They were showcasing the upcoming slate for 2022, and that's the crazy thing with Netflix. With these game shows, you have a lot of times you have a still of a game like, yeah, no, we just started this, so it's been in works for years, but we don't have anything to show. With Netflix, it's like, yeah, that's our slate for the rest of 2022, and it's coming out this year. So that's at least exciting that you're getting this to see the stuff that's coming out pretty soon. One of the things they kicked it off with was on the series department. They showcased The Sandman, a series that is, I think, this dark mystery type of fantasy show. And I was a bit disappointed when I realized it was based on a comic book from, I think, the early 90s. And I thought it was based on that E.T.A. Hoffman short story that I had to read in college a couple of years ago. I was like, oh, that's so exciting. It's so like, ooh. But no, it's a comic. And I
but do you know who the comic is written by?
No.
Neil Gaiman.
That name rings a bell, but I don't know what else he's done. Do you think this is gonna be a solid project?
I'm extremely excited for this show. I haven't read the comics, but I've read up on the story and everything. It's just I'm not a big comic book reader.
Yeah.
As we know, I don't read.
Yeah, well, you can't as well.
So,
that's also an issue.
Yeah,
I think we haven't brought that
Everything's
up.
Every other, I have to turn like upside down.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's so hard.
Yeah, it's so hard as an Australian to read books.
That's so tough for you.
I'm very excited for The Sandman just because I'm a big fan of Neil Gaiman. Hang on.
You got a Sandman?
No, I don't. But I do have like Neil Gaiman books.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm not in focus with it, but like I do read once in a while, and I have read some of his books, and I've read a number of other ones as well, which I don't actually have any up there to show off. But I have a book.
It's crazy.
Crazy, right?
Wow.
I should have held it up like this. Sorry, I should have held it up like this. Upside down.
Yeah.
So I'm excited because I do like Neil Gaiman as a writer. He's just really fun. So I don't know if he has any attachment to the show at all, but in comparison to what you said, I am excited for this show.
It's playing the devil's advocate of being like, oh, look at this short story from 1811 or something like that. I don't know, just because I know it. It's also funny because I think there's this, I don't know if it's still on, but in German or at least in Swiss TV as well, there's a program that usually aired around 7 p.m. called The Sandman, and it was like, someone just putting you to sleep with like little short stories and stuff like that. Really cute.
Aw,
And I used to watch that. So like there's
cute.
also a bit of memory here. But anyways, I mean, it looks interesting, but it didn't really grab me, to be honest. Something I think that yields a lot of potential is Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, which will feature
Definitely.
8 different directors kind of having their own spin on a short story in the realm of horror. We got directors behind Mandy, The Empty Man, Splice, The Babadook, The Vigil, Hannibal, A Girl Walked Home Alone at Night, and even the Twilight director. So, a lot of variety there. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I thought it's a very interesting concept.
Yeah.
And to attach, you know that someone's made it pretty successful if they can just attach their name and you get excited around it.
Yeah.
He's basically done a Tim Burton. Hey, I'm just going to throw my name on this. Have fun with it.
Similar to what David Fincher is basically doing with Love, Death, Robots now. I mean,
That too.
he's doing a bit of direction. I think he directed like one in the last season. I don't know about the previous ones, but it's also just like his support. He's more of a producer here. It's not like David Fincher's Love, Death, and Robots. But it's funny that like it's called Guillermo del Toro, but I don't think he's directing any of the shorts. It,
No, it's
so
it's like
yeah, it's
it's
just a
like
showcase.
Tim Burton's A Nightmare Before Christmas. Tim Burton wasn't
Yeah,
the director of that movie. So
yeah,
he's just
that
attached
is crazy.
to it, and I guess he's just producing, and everyone knows him as the horror dude that has monsters. So
Yeah.
yeah, I like the fact that his name's attached to it because you kind of know what you're getting yourself into in a way.
Yeah, that's true. Totally, totally. And I think you got some solid directors there. I think it's no mistake to have the Mandy director as top billing for this whole thing, and then followed by the Empty Man. But still, even if like I'm not a big fan of all of these films that they've directed previously, uh they can certainly surprise, with a short story. It's such a different thing than this. And I don't know how long these are gonna be. I don't know if they're gonna be like short films actually, or more like short film, like shorter films that are closer to feature length. I have no idea, but I'm super keen for this, and yeah, we'll get it later in the year. I would assume probably around Halloween time if I had to make a guess about that. Then we also got a sneak peek for the live action One Piece show. I don't know who asked for this. I think no one did. They had a bit of a showcase for the set, and the guy who plays Luffy, I think is what the main character is called, was already so annoying as soon as he spoke. So I was like, I've never seen One Piece, but I guess if the lead character is annoying, you nailed it. And then there was First Kill, a coming of age fantasy show about a vampire and a vampire hunter falling in love. It's also featuring TikTok songs to appeal to a Zoomer audience. It's kind of the impression what I got from that show. Then the Midnight Club shows its characters awkwardly looking straight into camera and reading a bunch of lines off. It comes from the talent behind Midnight Mass and the Haunting of Bly Manor, which I know Lachlan, you really enjoyed. So I guess it doesn't really give you much. Mike Flanagan isn't really showing anything besides like a mood palette and showcasing, I guess, the actors. Are you excited for the Midnight Club?
Well, you know what they say: keep your cards to your chest because you can't see your cards, and that's how you win a
Yeah,
game of poker. So we're playing a
right.
poker with Mickey right now, so I can't wait to see what he's gonna give me this time in terms of spooks
Do that with my
and
taxes as well.
scares.
I just keep the money
Yep,
and don't show them.
yep.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Great. I mean, I think I'll try and give this a watch. I think I watched like 1 or 2 episodes of Midnight Mass, but didn't finish it, and I haven't seen Bly Manor yet. But if this proves to be like a hit, I might go back and actually give those a watch as well. And then finally in the series department, we got the first look at the Resident Evil show that's releasing quite soon, about a month from now on July 14th, which seems to focus on the Umbrella Corporation. So, Lachlan, I've never watched or played any of the Resident Evil games so far, although I do own about a half of the games in my Steam library. Uh,
What about the movies?
I haven't seen the movies ever.
PW, you haven't seen the what?
No, I almost went to a screening last year for, or was it? Yeah, no, last year for that new one, Raccoon City, I think. But I was just busy that day and I didn't watch it. So I still have to this day not
Oh
watched a single
no,
Resident Evil film.
not that shitty Netflix one that came out a year ago. I'm
Well,
talking
all of
about
them.
the Resident Evils. None of them. Wow.
I own a
okay.
bunch of them on DVD, but I've never put them in and actually watched them all the way
Hey,
through. I've only seen clips.
I'm not a Resident Evil fanboy,
Yeah.
but I have played through the majority of the games, not all of them, but the majority of the games.
Mm-hmm.
I have also watched all of the original Paul W.S. Anderson movies
Mm-hmm.
with a classic Mila Djokovic
Mm-hmm.
as the main character. I've watched those, and
Yeah.
I don't love them, but I've watched them for entertainment in the past, and they do deliver for the majority of the part. I'm just sick of being disappointed with the film adaptation of Resident Evil because the story was great. The stories are great for the original 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So stick with it. I guess
Yeah.
not. So they decide to do something else and go down this line. Now this one does, like, they did the Raccoon City and it was a shitty adaptation. It was pretty cheesy and poorly done.
Mm-hmm.
This one looks a little bit more interesting. Well, I guess we'll see, but you know, once you've been let down once, they just can't seem to let this IP die in the movie and TV world. They just don't let it die. Like, stop. Just do the games. Stop doing the movies.
Yeah, and I think the movies are super successful still, and they're constantly doing remakes for like the older games because they're so beloved. So I think it's a franchise to stay. Maybe just not in the adaptation because, like, at the end of the day, Resident Evil, from at least what I can gather, is so much about the experience of survival, and that gets really repetitive because you can't replicate that excitement usually in films. You can you can do it like once or twice and then it gets repetitive, then you got to work in character stuff. And I mean, I don't know, maybe they have like great potential there as well from the stories from the games, but yeah.
I'm just seeing how
Yeah.
much the last Resident Evil, it's called The Final Chapter, actually made at the box office.
Yeah, definitely the final chapter.
So the budget was estimated to be 40 million and it grossed 27 million in the US, but worldwide at the GBO it did 312 million. So definitely probably was very popular in Asia.
Yeah, probably, yeah. That would maybe I'll put out
probably
like,
very popular.
yeah, maybe I'll like put up something where it was successful over the world. I sometimes splice in those edits, that extra bit of information, just for those of you maybe listening. I think there's about a third of you just listening on Apple Podcasts, and you're missing out on the video feed on Spotify and on YouTube. But yeah, interesting. So what's the show you're most looking forward to out of this selection we just talked about? Is it The Sandman?
Guillermo del Toro's
Guillermo
Cabinet
del
of
Toro. Okay.
Curiosities. I felt like that was the coolest one of them all.
Yeah.
I also thought that 1899 was
I was about
also
to bring that up because
very
like
interesting as well.
that's my pick because I have you watched any of Dark?
I watched the first season, I believe, but I never finished the show, and I've been told I should finish it because like season 2 and I think they did a third season are excellent.
They are. I think they nail it. It's a lot of like build up and stuff that really culminates in an ending that is quite satisfying. In the narrative and emotionally, I think it's a phenomenal show, and it's great to see something done from a German production company because they're usually pretty safe with what they do. A lot of rom-coms, a lot of like crime stuff, at least the stuff that like we watch here, or I don't watch, but like a lot of people do. So it's great to have like sci-fi stuff, and this seems like another hit if it comes from the same talent. It also has one of the actors who was in Dark returning for this. So yeah, I'm super keen for 1899. That's pretty much it for the series. Now let's move on to the movies. And apparently Zack Snyder is working on another film over on Netflix called Rebel Moon, which actually just cast Anthony Hopkins and already has Charlie Hunnam Sofia Boutella and Ray Fisher, attached to this sci-fi adventure movie set in space. I don't know, is it set in space? Maybe I've been influenced by Summer Game Fest that I just think everything is set in space now. But that's that. They didn't have anything really to show for it yet, other than I think a costume test or something like that. But I guess that's for the Snyder heads. Then we got a new film with Jamie Foxx called Day Shift from J.T. Perry, who was a stunt coordinator on John Wick 2 and also on Gemini Man and F9. And it's about a hardworking dad out to provide for his daughter's daughter, uses a boring pool cleaning job as a front for his real gig, hunting and killing vampires. So that's coming to Netflix on August 12th. Lachlan, what did you make of Day Shift? Because like I had the impression this could be a pretty like fun movie about vampires hunted by Jamie Foxx.
Exactly. I'm in.
Yeah.
Dumb fun. Vampires. Jamie Foxx. Front as a pool cleaning business. I'm in.
Yeah.
Done. You sold me.
I like my pool cleaned that I don't have, so yeah.
Yep.
And I got some vampires here as well.
I'm in.
I'm worried for all the Australians that might be on the set here because, you know, gravity works different for you.
We don't get vampires.
You don't.
The sun is always out 24/7.
Right. I just thought because Upside Down that there's a vampire joke in there, but that's also fair. You just can't hide from the sun ever. But that's that. I think if Netflix is set out to do, because like this seems like the type of movie, or Jamie Foxx is probably pretty expensive, that they would do in the future, which is like the type of Red Notice, mass appealing stuff that is easily consumable. If that's the stuff that they'll produce further down the line, I think Netflix has a place to stay in the industry. I hope they still do the occasional, more auteur-centric filmmaker type of stuff, but this is fine by me. Hopefully it turns out to be an entertaining film. At least you can expect a lot of good action from a film directed by a stunt coordinator. Then we got two projects from Norway. One of them called Troll from the Tomb Raider director Roar Uthaug, featuring big trolls, and then Blasted, an action comedy about a wedding interrupted by aliens. That gives me a bit of like Edgar Wright's The World's End type of vibes in the way it's shot, and feels like over-the-top action. I'm always down for Norway to do stuff. Recently, they've had some good stuff at festivals. They've had The Worst Person in the World. They proved to be quite a solid film industry, and if they get more bigger production stuff like this, with like a troll fantasy feature and then a kind of sci-fi comedy, I'm down. I'm down for Norway to make it up the ranks of like a big nation for film. What did you make of these two trailers?
Troll was probably my favorite, because I don't know if you've seen the Troll Hunters movie.
I haven't, no.
It's super underrated. It's like a found footage style movie. That was fun. I haven't seen it in a long time, and it kind of made me want to go back to it. So
yeah,
I have good memories of that. Very excited. I just like mythical style stuff. So this is super interesting in a realistic format. So I'm very excited for that.
Yeah.
And the other one was which one was the other one? Sorry, Blasted.
Blasted, which seems a bit more generic, if I'm being honest. But just with
I wouldn't say generic. I thought that one was a bit of fun. So I'm kind of keen for that one as well. But I probably wouldn't hold my breath and like if I had to choose between what are you going to watch, Blasted or Trolls, I'd probably go and watch Trolls. Not to be mistaken for the animated movie Trolls,
right?
But the Norwegian Trolls.
Yeah.
So, and when I say Norwegian Trolls, I don't mean that in a derogatory term. I mean the movie that was made in Norway.
Yeah, I mean
by Norwegians.
Look,
and it's called Trolls.
The big trolls, but
open quotation Trolls, close quotation Trolls.
If the
have
Trolls
I got myself
movie,
a bit clear?
Yeah, I think you have. But I think one thing that the Trolls movie established is that I think in the second one, which don't ask me why I watched that one.
You've seen them?
Only the second one. It's about like finding the music within, or everyone can be everyone has talent, or I don't know. Anyways, I think that leaves the potential for this big troll to have a beautiful voice as well, and burst out to probably something Justin Timberlake wrote 15 years ago. You never know. And maybe there's a Norwegian pop star in him all along. It would be quite inspiring, to be honest. And yeah, so if that's not happening, I'm really disappointed by Troll. Now I've set up the expectation that I want him to sing. Um, which no, there's no tie to this next one. I thought I'll try to bridge over to the School of Good and Evil, which is it's basically a show that feels like it would fit perfectly on Disney Plus. I don't know if it's gonna have any like darker themes or whatever, but it's a school for people who turn out to be the good guys or the villains later on in life. I, I don't know what this is. I think it's like fairy tale influenced. It's just really bizarre to me. That's like, I guess it's just IP at the end of the day. You know, we know these fairy tales. Let's put the characters in, and then I don't know actually what they're doing. It's so weird to me. But Lachlan, what did what did you make of it? At least a bit rambled.
I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, me neither. It's definitely for a different audience that is just like, look, there's a fairy tale, there's an apple that's bitten in. That's probably Snow White. And I don't know if they try to misdirect and actually make some heroes the villains, or it just feels super generic. And anyways, let's move on to animation. There were two films that I would shout out quickly. The first one didn't really leave a great impression on me because I did like the style. It looked really pretty cheap to me, but it has Carl Urban starring in it. It's called Sea Beast, about a vampire. They go up against a sea beast, and I think then for most of the movie, at least from what I could make out from the trailer, is that he's stuck on the island with a little girl. So that's that. Comes out on July 8th. And then the second one, a movie from Kid Cudi called Intergalactic, an animated series with a really stacked cast. Timothy Chalamet, Vanessa Hudgens, Christopher Abbott, Laura Harry, Ty Dolla $ign, Macaulay Culkin, Jaden Smith, and has a really interesting visual style as well. I think I would describe it as really close to Into the Spider-Verse, but also a hint of like The Witness in it. If I like, just like a bit of spice, just a tiny pinch of it. But I really liked the look of it.
No, the style was awesome. It kind of grabbed me immediately. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty much in on that one.
Mm-hmm.
The other movie, I didn't really care about.
I think it's just like another really safe Netflix movie that doesn't really do anything different. It's just there to exist. I believe Antigalactic is also the name of Kid Cudi's new album. Obviously, when you look at the cast, a lot of them are also well, I don't know about all of them, but some of them have an involvement in music, obviously. So there's going to be a big focus on music in that show, and it's going to be a big part of it. So I'm really looking forward to this. I think it has a lot of potential, and yeah, I'm really keen for it. And it comes out later in 2022. So I think that wraps it up for a Geeked week. Obviously, next week we have to come back and talk about the announcements they are making for the gaming side of Netflix. But until then, let's look at some other trailers that also released outside of these conventions. And but we'll stay on the train of animation and look at the new Disney animation film that's coming on Thanksgiving later in fall this year, and that is Strange World. So Lachlan, do you think Disney has got another hit on its hand with this one?
Look, Disney's always going to be quite successful, and anytime there's like some funkiness to it, I guess people just eat that shit up. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of just glad the whole Disney and Pixar world is kind of going away from the emotional stuff and going into more of the action stuff. I miss that Disney.
It is way more, I guess, just action adventure type of stuff. And well, I don't know. It still is an action adventure, I'd say. What bothers me
There can
more,
still be some emotional stuff in it. I mean, like
yeah,
Wally's all about love and some shit,
but that's
but
Pixar.
it's more
I'm
about
really
Oh,
let's
shit.
distinct between the two, because I think what Disney is really good at is like musicals. That's not Pixar's thing. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the look of the recent few Disney films.
They've all got the same style, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Well, they're
I don't know
different,
if this is
obviously, but
Disney
they're also
like
the
leaning
same.
into a certain style, but I guess like each age of like Disney movies has a different style to it.
Yeah.
And
I-
this kind of seems to be the 2010s,
Yeah, did you see the
late
title card?
2010, 2020.
Yeah, it looks so much like you could replace these two words with anything, and it would just be the next Disney film. That's kind of how they. If you would look probably at the lineup of Disney films, they would all kind of look, or at least in my mind, they all look the same. And I think if you do that as a company where you can't really distinguish the stories that you're making, and they're pretty much interchangeable for me at least, then you're doing something wrong. And I'm just getting the same impression, the same old Disney that's not really creatively pushing anyone for this. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, because like people totally ate up Encanto, and I just thought it was pretty mediocre, pretty mid. So I don't know, maybe I'm just a hater, but this doesn't look like it's gonna be something for me. But we'll definitely give it a watch when it comes out later in fall. Now, two films I'm actually really rooting for the reason of it not being attached. Although, like Strange World, I don't know if it's based on anything. I guess it's Disney original, although it doesn't feel original. These things are original in that sense that we are getting Bullet Train, which is gonna be a straight on action comedy with a bunch of like fun actors in it, and it's not based on anything. And then we also getting Nope from Jordan Peele with a cast that I probably couldn't be more in love with. Those two films really make me excited for what's to come this summer. But what do you make of, I guess for Bullet Train we already got a trailer. We kind of got the last trailer for Nope, and I don't know if we get more trailers for Bullet Train. I think this one kind of already
I
nailed
hope
it.
not.
It's really fast
Tells me
paced.
everything.
We got a smaller, like a bit more slower paced trailer for Bullet Train. Now it's a more fast paced trailer. I don't think we need any more. You've sold me on it. I'm actually really keen for it. I hope it works out to be an entertaining film. And with Nope, I was already sold with it being super
The less I know,
mysterious.
the better.
And now we know a bit more, but I think it's well, it's good that it's the last trailer, because I don't want to see more from Nope. I just want to watch the movie now, please. And yeah. What did you think of it? Did you like it?
The Nope trailer? Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I
Yeah, no.
Nope. I liked it, and the less I know about this film, the more excited I go into the cinema, specifically for this film. Bullet Train told me too much. I don't think I need to know anything more about Bullet Train than what the first trailer gave me, but I viewed this trailer hoping to see a couple more action things to be like even more excited, but it just gave me too much. The Nope gave me, again, this trailer gave me more of a story that we're following, but
Yeah.
again, it was just I don't want any more than what it's already given me. So I'm excited for both of these films, no matter what, whether it's basically the entire story is given to me or the
Mhm.
part of the story is being given to me. I'm excited for both of these films, especially as new IPs, not independently made, but new ideas coming into cinema.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah.
What can I say?
What
Other
can
than
you?
that.
Yeah. We're very excited. I'm looking forward to talking about these. Bullet Train comes out on August 5th, and Nope on July 22nd. Now let's get back to the regularly scheduled sequel, prequel, spin-off, requel talk, and let's take a look at Prey, a Predator sequel that releases on Hulu on August 5th. I still haven't seen any of those films, so I'm gonna hand it off to Lachlan. What did you make of it? Do you think this is gonna stay truthful to what the Predator franchise is supposed to be?
I think it's going to do better than The Predator from 2018 because that was a hot pile of garbage.
Mm.
And I hope Shane Black never directs another Predator movie ever again.
Again, so hostile, right?
I really do enjoy the first two Predator movies. Actually, you know what? I even say Predators. Hand on my heart, I will say it. I like Predators. Predators is
Yeah.
fun. It's
Mm.
enjoyable. It's a fun, loving film. I love Adrian Brody in this film. I
Mhm.
love Lawrence Fishburne in this film. I love a decent amount of this film. Now, it's not my favorite because I still think Predator 1 is like sick and Predator 2 definitely incorporates a great story in a more urban setting with the Predator. It's not as intense and as fun as what Predator 1 is, but still great. And quickly, Alien vs. Predator can go back to the multiverse that it accidentally leaked from as well. So this trailer got me extremely excited. Now, before I say all the good stuff, there's a couple of things I don't like. The biggest one is I wish it wasn't in English.
Right, because it's like
Now,
telling the base story of Predator, and you think that should be rooted more in
well, it's
something
set
more
in
indigenous?
it's
or?
set in, I believe, North America, so it
Yeah,
should. It would be really nice to have it spoken in a Native American language.
yeah, that's
That would have
actually,
been
yeah,
really interesting.
it's a big
And
missed
here's the thing:
opportunity.
you can
Yeah,
still have English parts because we saw men with guns. We saw that there were white men coming in with guns. You can still
Yeah.
have English in
the
there.
actual Predator.
You don't have to. Yeah, yeah. Whoa.
Whoa.
I like what I think. I think I know what we're going to be seeing in this film, Ewan.
Yeah.
But like that's a massive missed opportunity. Now I know that you're going to restrict the market a little bit more, but recently people have definitely been opened to watching movies with subtitles if they're good. So it's a complete missed opportunity to incorporate, I guess, a culture that's not really represented well in cinema.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that what they are going to be doing in this film is representing that group of people extremely well. And hopefully we're going to get a really awesome film out of it because famously they're great at hunting. Also, the Predator's the best predator, the best hunter ever. So having this team up, the setting is awesome. I love the character of the Predator, or at least the creature of the Predator, enough to be like, this is exciting to see where they go. So I'm super, super excited. I really hope it's good. I really do.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like the whole concept has just had me sold ever since I heard of it being made.
Right. Yeah. Because
The
I
first
wasn't sure.
photo they released as well, and that was also exciting. Sorry, go ahead.
I watched the trailer and I thought this looks interesting. But it's a Predator prequel, so is it gonna be good in that sense? Is it gonna work in that? But other than that, I think it has a lot of potential to be a great film. But I think what you said is important. That if you had the historic background, then other than just like basically using their history and using it for this like entertainment purpose, you gotta work carefully with representation, especially if they're on screen. So hopefully they'll do that fine. Didn't even think of that.
And this
because I
isn't even
wasn't
the
sure where
oldest.
it's
This
set.
isn't even the oldest civilization that's dealt with the predators.
Oh,
Because
really?
I
Okay.
guess, look, I don't know if we want to consider it as canon, but in the Alien versus Predator universe, they basically reference that there was, I believe it was the Mayans or some sort of South American culture that worshipped them, and they would come to Earth and they would hunt the aliens, and if they weren't
Right.
successful, they would just blow it all up, and that would erase basically a whole civilization. And that was like the earliest you've ever heard of the predators coming to Earth. So to have a bit more of a, I guess you don't have guns, you don't have massive rocket launchers to attack this guy with. It's a bit more exciting because you have to go hand to hand combat, which I guess they also do a little bit of that in Predators as well. Not a lot, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited to see because the whole concept of this film is exciting. So out of everything that we've spoken about today, it's like this is, other than maybe Nope and Bullet Train, because I'm also very excited for those as new IPs. This is the most exciting trailer that I had this week.
Right. Oh, that's interesting to hear because I totally wasn't sure where you're gonna land on it. I think you will. I just thought you're gonna be more torn on it, not sure if this is actually gonna be good. So
Look, I still have doubt.
yeah.
I just don't want it to. I'm hopeful, man.
Yeah.
Jesus, have a bit of hope. So be
Yeah.
so down.
No, I'll be the prey for yet another direct to streaming bit, and just really hope it's gonna be good. Anyways, speaking of big things in the theater, it's The Rock, and he's big. Black Adam, and he's basically Superman
Wow.
or whatever. So we got a trailer for it. Lachlan, what do you think about Black Adam? Is that yeah?
Cool. It's
Thumbs
just in the
up
DC
or
universe.
thumbs down? What do
movie.
you think? Yeah,
Thumb in the middle.
thumb in the middle. Damn, fumbling.
Am I more excited for Pierce Brosnan?
Hopefully, you should be. It was just like such a nothing story where you just see like, hey, successful, fame. I'm just hating on The Rock in this
Bazillion
episode.
of years. Yeah.
It's just it's so nothing. He never does anything. He's just like big hulky dude, and the story is just him punching, and it's not gonna be interesting. It's gonna be pretty mediocre. I can already tell. It's really not for me. So before I like shit on it too much, I'd say just move on. I guess it's yet another superhero film. Let's move on.
This next movie is right up your alley, though, right?
The smaller film is Don't Make Me Go with John Cho over on Prime Video, coming to the streaming service on July 15th, and it's about a father and his teenage daughter. I don't know why would that be more up my alley, Lachlan? I know why, but just like I wanted to hear it from you. How would you explain this?
You hate
Yes? Yeah?
you hate
You hate?
Marvel and DC,
I
so you must
don't.
love every other bit of cinema,
You're
no
trying
matter
to
how cheesy,
stereotype.
corny it might be.
I'm not that
So
stereotypical.
you're a film lover, so you
Yes.
must love drama
I do love
and
drama, but I can say
toxic relationships that develop into beautiful relationships.
I love those as well. I'm a sucker for those, to be
Yeah.
honest. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And you love John Cho.
I do, but it doesn't look like this is gonna be for me because it seems like it's gonna be painfully generic in the sense that like you can tell where the story is going. Road trip movie, discovering yourself, and just Amazon Prime wanting something like that on their service as well. So you're actually wrong. I also think this looks like it's gonna be boring.
Well,
So
guess what? I'm very
yeah,
excited for it. So
you're just playing. You're just
Yep.
being contrarian
No.
right now. Yes.
No. When does it come out?
Okay.
July 15th?
Already.
Hey Siri, set a reminder that on July
Oh my
15th, I
God.
need to watch that movie on Amazon Prime.
That you already forgot the name of. Oh my God. You're not being.
Okay,
I also
July
forgot the name.
set for the 5th of July 2022.
That's
you go.
amazing. Well, can you remind me as well so I can remember to love it and actually?
Hey Siri,
Ch-
set a reminder on the 15th of July 2022 to remind Ewan to remind Ewan, that I have to remind him to watch that movie on Amazon Prime, the father-daughter one starring John Cho.
Okay, your reminder is set for the 15th of July 2022.
It's all set. All right. Well, then let's move on to what we've been watching in the meantime. So yeah, Lachlan, have you been watching anything, or what have you been up
Nope.
to?
So I'm taking this time. This is my time. I get my 5 seconds of fame on here when I get to actually. There's no script and I get to explain stuff. Because of Obi-Wan Kenobi, which we're about to talk about the next episode shortly, which is one of the only things I really watched other than Hustle. I am replaying Jedi Fallen Order because I really enjoyed that game and I didn't really get my teeth into it. I kind of just ran through it because I was playing something else at the time. So I'm really
Yeah.
excited for that. But more importantly, I have an update to a story that I said many, many weeks ago.
Ooh.
Who's ready for some good news?
Me, sir.
My drone's
I'm ready.
back.
Wait, it's actually back from the rest in peace bay.
Back
What
from
was
the
it
dead,
called?
baby.
What was this? What was the beach called?
Peaceful Bay. It's
Peaceful
back from
Bay.
Peaceful Bay.
How did
And
you
the
get it
camera's
back?
not broken anymore.
Yeah.
Shout out to DJI for repairing it for me.
Yeah.
I paid them to repair it. So it came out of my money. Just like to thank DJI for fixing the
I
drone.
paid for it.
DJI didn't pay for it. I paid for it.
Well, no, I paid for it.
Oh right, yes, that's. I see your joke.
DJ,
Sorry, let
you
me.
paid for
Do you
it.
want to do that again? Except that I'll
No,
laugh this
I
time.
think more like DJ. I paid for it.
Aha!
Haha, so
Um,
funny. So have you flown it
so-
already again?
No, I haven't. I haven't had the time, and it's been raining the past week since I've had it, so I haven't been able to take it out. So,
Mm.
but I am going on a little trip soon, so hopefully I can fly it while I'm on
And
my little
crash.
trip.
And crash.
And I know I'm not gonna. now you've said it, I'm gonna fucking crash it. You know, if I crash it, you're paying for it because you only said I'm gonna crash it.
I pay for it.
Yeah, what an original joke. So yeah, my drone's back, everybody.
Yes.
For episode 100, that I can.
I think for
fly
episode 100,
for
you
something.
need to have the drone up the entire time, and it's just like a third angle of you.
Jeez, that's gonna make the recording sound terrible because it already sucks because I got a cricket because it's like 8 o'clock at night while I'm recording, 8:30 at night while I'm recording this.
Yeah.
But having the frickin'
It just adds a
in
lot
the
of
background as well is gonna be
filmmaking
even more
atmosphere.
annoying.
I think we should only do it if we ever review another Michael Bay film that also shoots like those action cams. Then it would kind of set this setting.
Even better, what we should do is we should record the podcast, right?
Yes.
And then go back and do ADR for
yeah,
the
I
whole
was-
podcast.
That would be very funny. I'm just thinking what I could say over now. Like that would be just horribly wrong and just something completely different.
You realize what you said is completely incorrect and fucked up.
Yeah.
So your mouth is saying one thing, but the ADR recording is completely different.
Yeah.
Oh yes. No, do the mouth. I'll do the voice. I love John Cho movies about father-daughter relationships, and Black Adam's going to be the best movie of the year. There you go. Incredible.
We are
incredible.
The funny thing is that was synced up on our end. It's not gonna be once I edit this video, so that's gonna be fun.
Oh
how
God,
out of sync it is.
no, yeah. Of
It's
course
actually
not,
a great
yeah.
reference point for me to edit. But I think we're getting too meta with this. You played Fallen Order, you got a drone back. I still am maidenless and without any drones. And I also sat through Jurassic World Dominion. So I watched that film actually a while back, press screening, and it was a long embargo for it to actually talk about it. On the date I think it came out here, on that day you could start talking about it, and it's probably because it's not a good movie. On the Metacritic it's currently sitting at a 37, and on Letterboxd it's a 2.6. It's the third installment in this franchise and has a bunch of returning characters, namely I guess from the original Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum. We are also getting Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard back, who I believe still both are not good actors, but it's also not helped by a really bad direction style. There's a lot of like staging and framing issues that happen throughout the movie that just look super unprofessional. The CGI sometimes like you could see the chroma key and like stuff. It was just like sloppily done. There's a lot of dinosaurs in the right places. Other than like one scene that's on Malta that is about I think 20 minutes long that has some really exciting action. This movie really lacks anything that makes it worth seeing. I think they had an interesting premise, which spoiler alert for Fallen Order, but now I'm thinking about Jedi.
Ayo.
What is it, like Fallen Kingdom? Yeah, that's the second one, Fallen Kingdom. They have the potential to go more into the Matt Reeves type of Planet of the Apes type of story because they have the dinosaurs out in the wild, and then they just go back to like a more familiar, let's go to this facility type of story. And they basically have like half a dozen shots where the marketing department must have been really happy because like they have a lot of these shots that like pull back as everyone just kind of walks behind each other, perfectly framed up for camera, and it's like it's so cheesy. The story is really boring. Yeah, overall just a great disappointment. I gave it the same rating as I've given to Fallen Kingdom that I actually just watched a day before. I watched the new one because I really don't care for this franchise anymore. I think they really screwed the pooch with this one, and it's a 3 out of 10 for both of those films from me. So that's why we decided to not focus on those for our main reviews, because we would have just like shit talked them for most of it and basically pointed out all of the flaws. And I didn't want to make Lachlan sit through this, so I watched the first episode of Miss Marvel, and I gotta say, that one really has its tone down already. I'm not saying it's like totally for me at all, but it has some really like flashy type of editing in the way that it's really showing you what it's doing. Like text messaging displaying on walls all over the place. It's like very quirky and like yes, actually quirky, as in what that word is supposed to mean. But it's got some charm, and I'm gonna keep on watching that. But I'll probably give you my thoughts once that whole show has wrapped as well. And then I watched something that's out on Hulu about a valet. I don't know if you know Lachlan, but valets are usually not famous. So in this story, he meets Samara Weaving, who plays like a big movie star, and she's a famous person. So he's a non-famous person, and she's a famous person, and then she gets caught with a rich person that's married to another person. So instead of like having that all come up, that would be bad press for her. She goes to the not famous person. They pretend to be a couple. So that's the plot. I think it's literally been done earlier this year with Jennifer Lopez and Owen Wilson. That was already a shit movie. This one is like, I don't know, has a bit of the charm of like a Latin American experience kind of mixed in there, but it's done so loosely and in a performative way that it's like, I think it's decent. It's way better than the Wow over Owen Wilson show with Jennifer Lopez. Nothing to write home about. And then I caught Say Anything, which is an 80s classic. I don't know if you've seen Say Anything.
No.
It has that iconic shot of John Cusack holding up the speaker, you know?
Oh, right.
And I didn't know it was from this, and then it happened in this movie, and I just wasn't paying attention, and it was like, oh shit, that's why it's iconic. And this whole movie kind of felt iconic to me, and then like it to lead into that, and I'm just being completely unaware of where this is going. Was super exciting. I think it's like a rom com. Like if I see this as a rom com, I get why rom coms was so popular for a long time. Yeah, it's just a good rom com. It's from Cameron Crowe. It's the second movie I caught from him. A couple of years ago in school, I had to watch Vanilla Sky for a like philosophy class, but that doesn't matter. I might check out Jerry Maguire and Almost Famous now because I'm quite intrigued what that director has to offer. That wraps it up for what we've been watching, and we'll move on to our spoiler reviews. And we decided to highlight a smaller release over on Netflix starring Adam Sandler, and it's called Hustle. After discovering a once in a lifetime player with a rocky past abroad, a down on his luck basketball scout takes it upon himself to bring the player to the States without his team's approval. Against the odds, they have one final shot to prove they have what it takes to make it in the NBA. So that's Hustle. Currently sitting at a 3.6 on Letterboxd, 7.3 on IMDb, and is 67 on Metacritic, and is from Jeremiah Sagar, who already had quite an acclaimed run with his indie darling in 2018 called We the Animals. And he's bringing his talent to the big game over on Netflix. Hustle stars Adam Sandler, and it is a Happy Madison production, but one that on the rare occasion doesn't bring me to gouge out my eyes. It's actually a production where Sandler seems to give a fuck, so that's great to see. Back to back return. Also, Sandler in front of the camera with some basketball talent, actual pro players that act in the film. Only difference being to Uncut Gems that we are getting someone who's a bit more on the upswing than a downswing. But as you'd expect from a sports drama, it has a lot of like ups and downs and stuff that the lead characters have to overcome to ultimately triumph over the people that didn't believe in them. So, it's always gonna be predictable where these sports dramas end up. Doesn't mean that the journey along the way isn't worth seeing, especially if it's in the capable hands of Adam Sandler, who cares, and a director that seems to know what he's doing visually and narrative wise. So that's gonna be it for our non-spoiler section of this review. If you're a fan of basketball, this is pretty much a must-watch, as it uh, from people who actually watch basketball, because I don't. They tell me it's pretty accurate and it actually shows the sport in an interesting way, where it's not just pretend people actors pretending to play a sport that they're actually not really proficient in. So that's that. Your intro to the film. Now here's the spoiler warning for the rest of the review. We'll talk about specific stuff from the plot. But again, this is a sports film, so it's fairly predictable. So I think even if you haven't seen it, it's not going to ruin the film. But yeah, maybe come back if you want to watch it in between. Let's move on to spoilers, Lachlan. So, so Lachlan, what did you make of the film?
I enjoyed it. It didn't keep me on the edge of my seat, unlike Adam Sandler's previous, I guess, serious role in
Yeah.
Hubby Halloween.
Fuck. Seriously, man.
It didn't keep me on the edge of my seat, unlike Adam Sandler's previous serious role in Uncut Gems, because that is a high intensity film. You are going bang, 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 bang in that film. This film has its highs and its lows, and I really do enjoy that. Like any kind of sport drama movie. What's interesting though is Adam Sandler, he has a love of this sport. So this is basically a little passion project of his to be in, and that's exciting to see someone who's you typically write down as the fucking dude who pumps out those shitty comedies and once in a while does a serious film and nails it. You know, having this under his belt is honestly a spectacular performance by him. Again, by everyone else in the film as well, whether they be just basketballers or whether they are actually an actor, everyone nails it, I reckon. So
Yeah.
for me, the family dynamic between Bo and his family, but also then the father figure that Stanley then becomes, is a really beautiful evolution. And I just want to say that I found the montage that kind of appears halfway through the film in the training of Bo to go into one of these what's called the combine
Yeah.
in the NBA.
The combine.
It was a freaking incredible montage.
Yeah.
That
It
I didn't
wasn't
realize
just a
we're watching.
pastime, right?
No, it was like a proper montage training level of intensity, and there was some awesome cuts in there that you get really close to the end where they're swiping and it just flows so spectacularly, and I thought the score was awesome.
Yeah.
And I realized as I was watching it, I was watching this film, and you know when you watch a movie and you eventually go, oh fuck, and it just clicks that it's like this is really good and really fun. That was the moment for me that I went, yeah, this is a really excellent movie, loved by everyone who was probably making it, from the director to the writer to even probably the first AC. It was like a little passion project of everybody that just has cumulated into this ball of a basketball. There you go. How's that for you?
Yeah.
And then they shoot it, and
it's a basket.
ended in the hoop. Wow.
Yeah.
Sports analogies. Fuck yeah.
It's also the dynamic between this like super tall guy and then Stanley, who's trying to kind of keep him in check. I think they could have played, like, being a Happy Madison production, they could have played that way more in the sense of like, oh look, he's tall. I don't think there was a single like, oh, he's so incredibly tall type of joke, at least not at his expense. So it was all, I think, also cleverly written and then presented in a way that kept you engaged. Although it has almost like a 2-hour runtime, you know.
The comedy side of it is just so good. Like, I don't know why, but the jokes in this land better than any one of the shit comedies that Adam Sandler has ever put out. So
Yeah.
if he wants to make another comedy, he needs to make a serious movie.
I mean, a lot of the comedy comes from pretty serious moments, and I think that's the hard part about a comedy, because you're trying to write funny moments, but I think this has like that grounded reality of like that struggle that is like, if you're in that sphere, it is super relatable. You're down on your luck. You've kind of had like one thing that sets you back. Like that type of inspirational story, I think if done well, can really hit. And it just hit here because it connects with you in a way where like you can relate to it, although you're not an NBA star. You know, you can relate to just needing to prove yourself, but there's just certain things holding you back. And it's done well. It's done in a way where on the visual side, I gotta agree with you. The montage bit was so good. I don't remember the last time I've seen like such a long montage that worked so well. It's
And
really,
you don't realize
really great.
it's happening until probably about halfway through. You're watching
Yeah.
this montage and you're actually already drawn into it But it's
Mhm.
not until halfway through you go, oh fuck, this montage has gone for at least 5 minutes at this point.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
yeah,
long montage. So
yeah.
and it's so excellently edited that you just forget that you're in this movie for a hot minute and you're watching this guy go from an incredible basketballer
Mhm.
to
To Rocky
pro
on
league,
stairs,
essentially.
not in,
Rocky on stairs.
which is funny
Man,
because like
I was
that's
hoping
also
they
in
were going to do one of those
Philadelphia, right?
references.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Aren't they both set in Philadelphia? So it's interesting that they choose like
I'm pretty
obviously they
sure Rocky is set in Washington.
is it I think it's Philly. But although Rocky is set in Philadelphia, the film's locations are split between the city of brotherly love and Los Angeles. That Philly thing of like the Philadelphia 76ers, I think that's what it's called. Uh I also love how I was so excited when right before I started the film, I saw that Robert Duvall was in this film. It's like he's in it for like 3 minutes and then he just dies. I was like, oh, that's sad. Okay, I guess I'll take the little time that I get with Robert Duvall, but he was a great presence. It's just plot wise, there's nothing great to unpack here, but uh, the character stuff I think is done in a way where it doesn't surprise me where it arrives at. I like the bond that they create, and you never really question it, like why Stanley is doing it and why he's putting so much on the line, which also I think is aided that we never really get to see his financial situation like fully. We don't see how much he's putting on the line for him. He just doesn't have a job and whatever. So it's like it's inspirational enough, but it's also like how realistic is it that he could go all in on this kid? But I think I'm willing to bend my suspension of disbelief for this that moment or a few moments that they share. I think it's like one where they're in the car. It's just really beautiful. Where you can fully see him become this father figure that he doesn't really have. I mean, it's on the nose in the way where they talk about the tattoos, right? The one side is for his mom and the other side's for his dad, and it's just like his arm is just there's nothing on it. And by the end of the film, he does have that little oak tree where his mother goes like, yeah, he's like your tree, your oak tree, and it's all very literal. But I think a sports movie is allowed to do that.
Yeah, bro.
Would you
It's a
agree?
sports movie. You don't need to be super deep.
Yes, just be very literal and be like do it with proficiency when it comes to the sports. Show the best at the game. And it's also like fun when you see the credits and it's basically all these people as himself, as himself, as himself. It's like, oh, that's sick. I think if I would watch basketball more, if I was like a basketball fan, this would be a really amazing film to me as well because I would actually know the people in this. And yeah, I didn't really. I don't know if that like hindered your experience with it, or did you recognize anyone?
I recognize the big guys when they came on screen. I think
Yeah,
Steph Curry was in it. I'm pretty sure.
it
I
was.
think
Yeah,
I saw his face, but I'm not the biggest NBA follower, so
yeah, me
I didn't
neither.
really. I just saw I saw someone's face and I went, I know you.
Now this should naturally evolve from a character named Stanley to the Stanley Cup, and then I'm fully in. If you bring hockey into the mix of it, we haven't gotten a good hockey movie in so long, and like, it's not Philadelphia. It's close enough. It's not the Flyers. It's the Penguins. But yeah, we're overdue for a good hockey movie. So please, I also watched in preparation for this just because I thought that Hustle had like this really great vision where he worked with a ton of close-ups. You probably noticed as well that like that's kind of how he was editing a lot of dynamic camera decisions where the camera is a lot of the time moving, or at least like you're panning a lot. And in his movie that he got a bunch of awards for at smaller festivals, We the Animals, there's a ton of that like similar type of stuff when he's shooting it, which is it just reaffirms that he really knows what he's doing, and I think it works well in within the frame of the film. Yeah, Lachlan, anything else you wanted to talk about?
Not really. I just really want to point out the montage that was excellently crafted. I really enjoyed the story overall. It was awesome.
Yeah, so Lachlan, where would you arrive at as a rating for Hustle?
I gave it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I saw you bump it up as we were talking about the montage. So calling you out for that, that's fun. I love a live adjustment of your score. I'm pretty similar. I think this is also a really worthwhile film, and I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. So that's Hustle, currently streaming over on Netflix. Out this week on June 10th, we got Jurassic World Dominion. Tread with care. I don't know if it's worth seeing, and it's kind of a bummer that it's taking up some of the IMAX screens from Top Gun Maverick. Then on June 17th, we got Cha Cha Real Smooth over on Apple TV Plus from Cooper Rafe, but apparently it's not pronounced Rafe, but now I'm forgetting how you actually pronounce his last name, so I'm just gonna stick with the wrong pronunciation of his name, Cooper Rafe, with Dakota Johnson in it as well. It's a really charming film. Worth seeing, that got picked up from Sundance and was a festival darling over there. Then we got a new Pixar film, the Toy Story prequel with Chris Evans. Lightyear is hitting theaters, as well as Spider-Head over on Netflix with Miles Teller and Chris Hemsworth. Then we got Good Luck to You, Leo Grande. Speaking of Sundance, that was also a film that premiered over there, and it's now going to be streaming on Hulu. And then, finally, in Swiss theaters on June 16th, we are getting Everything, Everywhere, all at once. And please go give it a watch. If you are a Swiss listener, it's really worth seeing. And yeah, you're going to have a great experience.
It's my movie of the year so far.
No, didn't After Yang come out this year as well? I think it's tied for me, but it's like, for the sake of the argument, it's my movie of the year as well.
You didn't really create an argument there.
No, there's no argument. I don't want to be contrarian
no
when it comes
argument.
to Everything Everywhere All at Once. Just go see it. It's great. It's great cinema. Yeah, that's it for the new releases. Now, Lachlan, what is your pick of the week? What would you
We
tell
already
people to go
fucking
see?
said it.
We just did. Yeah, go see Everything
just
Everywhere All at
did.
Once.
That was my pick of the week because
Yeah.
it came out on streaming for me. So I'm going to go and,
Yes.
yeah, I'm going to go watch it again. You've already said you're going to go tell people to watch it. I've already told people it's my movie of the year.
Go see
I
it.
feel like I didn't have anything prepared because you took my pick.
Maybe what we could say is like, it's my pick of the week. Pick a non-pirate version of the film. Go support it. It's worth it. We gotta support
Go
these
give
types
the
of
Daniels
film.
your money.
Go give them as much of the money. I think they sell the distribution rights, so A24 is not really reaping any benefits directly because they sold them
Nice.
internationally. Still, I think it also is the highest grossing A24 film. Now it overtook, I think internationally it was Hereditary. I think it also went on to gross more than that. So great to see it succeed. Now in Swiss theaters, please let's push it along even higher. Would be great to see it in the ranks there as well. And worldwide, or even if you, I guess, are in Switzerland, you can catch it on VOD. That's it for the show. We haven't really addressed it yet, Lachlan, but you might have noticed there's like a double number in front of this show today. It's number 99. And
Dude, next week is episode 100.
I don't know, Lachlan, I think we're just gonna rock up and do a normal type of episode. People shouldn't expect anything.
Fuck off.
Yeah, we're not
Fuck
gonna
off.
do
We're
anything.
doing the Quiet on Set 100th episode spectacular.
Yeah, extravaganza, spectacular.
Extravaganza
A bunch of
spectacular. Can we make some
adverbs and-
really outrageous name? Can we make a really outrageous name?
Yes,
For the 100th episode.
just like crazy stuff. Like it's a bunch of adverbs and adjectives before we even get to say what the episode is. Like it's blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah 100th episode. Anyways, I'm super keen for that. We got some stuff in store, some announcements, some new things that we're doing, and some big things coming to the show. And I'm really keen to share them with all of you. So we'll see
We
you
also
next
just
week.
might quit. It might just be the last episode ever.
Yes.
How's that?
You never know. So I would just say, like, you should definitely take the time and like and subscribe and maybe even share this with someone else that also enjoys movie. Leave a rating on Apple TV, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, wherever you're listening to. It helps us
That's the
actually
secret.
make it to 100
We're getting
episodes.
an Apple TV show.
That would be sick if like
That's the secret. We have an
Yeah.
Apple TV show coming out, guys. I'm sorry that we spoiled it.
uh,
We partnered with Apple.
what was it about though? Like what's the pitch for the show?
It's just a video podcast on Apple TV. It's a game show.
It's a game
Where
show.
We have to guess. There's a bunch of Blu-ray discs,
Uh-huh.
and one of them is made of cake, and we have to guess which one is the cake.
It's just a stop motion film, and you have to guess which one is an actual photo and which one is the
Yep.
cake.
Yep.
But no, we'll catch you next week, and I'm really excited for that episode.
How good is it to have my drone back for episode 100?
Episode 100 is just like a long extended cut of you in your car flying your drone all the way to Switzerland.
How about I just
It's like a
drive my
7-hour
car
long
and do the podcast?
It's like a 12-hour long
Far out.
video. It's just like driving there. But yeah, that's the end of the show. We'll see you next week for episode 100. I'm really keen. Lachlan's really keen, and I'm gonna have to end it here. Otherwise, I'll leak some stuff for what we're doing next week. But come back. It's gonna be fun. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.